Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel and thanks for logging on. If you enjoyed these videos, do me a favor and subscribe to our YouTube channel right here at Watchbox Reviews. I'd really appreciate it and I promise to update daily. If you love this watch, you could see it and you can purchase it on our website, thewatchbox.com. Today we're discussing the circa 2003 Jaeger-LeCoultre Reverso Grande Date, 46.5mm from lug to lug, 29mm from 9 to 3, not inclusive of the crown, and a surprisingly slender 12mm thick. The watch has a 20mm spacing between its lugs. This is the so-called Extra Grande tie or XGT case that debuted with the 70th anniversary Reverso, the 70e. That was a platinum model. This one's stainless steel, far more wearable. It features the same basic movement and its extraordinary 8-day power reserve. Now that XGT case wears surprisingly easy on a smaller wrist because at only 46.5mm lug to lug, it's not terribly broad. It's thick more than anything, and only apparently thick, as a rounded case flank, and 12mm is admirably thin in the grand scheme of things. I would recommend this watch for a wrist as small as 14.5cm circumference. Now, taking the watch off the wrist, it features a few high-grade accessories, courtesy of Jaeger-LeCoultre. As you can see, the lugs are drilled close to the case to create a highly integrated look. There's very little daylight showing between strap and case, so the appearance, as with all Reversos, has always been of a highly integrated and close-coupled strap and case flank. You'll also appreciate that the strap is substantial, bolstered, thick, a lot of leather, alligator leather, large rectangular scale, medium brown, semi-gloss, monotone stitch. You can see there's a sheer edge, a thin one, showing the layers of construction, then calfskin on the underside, and it is a new JLC factory strap. And you can see it's made in France because JLC's OEM factory supplier of straps is Camille Fournet of Paris. The buckle is a single fold to point, and thank goodness for that. Prior to 2005, and switching over to a double after 2005, JLC used single folds. So from the inception of this model in 2003 through 2005, you would have gotten this single fold clasp, which is a lovely old piece and feels very solid on the wrist with a lovely contrast between its polish and its blasted interior. Both the double fold and the single fold are secure and well made. I just happen to like the double finish of the single fold, even as my small wrist somewhat prefers the double fold. Now the case is classic Reverso, a bit chunky, but still, everything you expect present and correct. Squared off lugs with a conical profile and a rounded barrel-like flank. That's the rounded aspect of the Reverso design that you rarely see online because you mostly see images that look like this. And from this angle, you might think the watch is just a hard-edged rectangle. It's anything but. Nevertheless, there is a dramatic interplay of the horizontal sweep of the guidron above and below the dial and the vertical sweep of the case, the numerals of the dial, and the dial itself. So, getting a little bit closer to that dial, let's take a look at some of the details. It features a dimple-style track outboard, and then inboard you have vertically arrayed Art Deco-style, relatively minimalist Arabic numerals that are in some places cropped by complications. There's a satin finish on the hour track. There's a billowing rose lathe-like pattern, a sort of undulating curtain that falls from top to bottom on the center dial. There's a little dished sub-register for the constant seconds, and this is a sophisticated movement that features, as you can see, an 8-day power reserve and a grand date. Let me see if I can roll through right there. The nice thing about the 8-day power reserve, and you can see it's displayed up at roughly 10:30, is that despite being an 8-day, it'll actually run for 10, and that's been verified. Plus, although it's an enormous power reserve, you don't have to wind over 100 times like you do with many big power reserve watches because it's geared very high. 55 turns will fully energize the watch, and you can see how fast that power reserve needle is moving. Now, because the watch does have an elaborate date complication, it also features a quick set, so you can rapidly cycle that double-digit date. That double-digit date, by the way, the namesake of the watch, was JLC's second ever patented. The original was given as a gesture of goodwill to its group mate Alango Unzona in the early 1990s. Now let's rotate the case. You can see the movement that provides the power. This is based on the movement from the 70e. This is caliber 875, and you can see it beats away at 28,800 vibrations per hour. It's nicely decorated. It features twin mainspring barrels that claimed 8-day power reserve that's actually about 10. The watch won't keep great time up to 10. It will keep great time up to 8. You can see it's decorated in traditional fashion with Côte de Genève. There are a number of satin finished elements that include the bridge over the center wheel. There is a chamfering at the edge of the bridges, but it is a mechanical chamfer. What is traditional is the decoration style and the blued screws, which you can see are fired kiln oxidized blue screws, not chemically dyed. It's a modern movement. It's a shaped movement. It's properly sized and of the right form for the case. And building a movement to fit the size and the shape of its canister is the ultimate sign of a true manufacturer. Now, the timepiece has a case back that's relatively straightforward. As with most Reverso models, you have the reference, you have the name, and you have a little bit of information, including serial number on the case back. There's not much to see, but I wanted to show it to you anyway. The Reverso making the most of its double-sided case to reveal the movement when you would like, and the dial when you need it. 30 meters water resistant. It's not necessarily an aquatic watch, but given the more than 50 pieces and multiple seals of the case, it's remarkable that it's water resistant at all. And of course, the movement goes through the master 1000 hours control of chronometry, power reserve, water resistance, a total cased up standard that tests the movement in the watch as you'll own it, unlike the Swiss COSC. See this one and make it yours on the Watchbox.